kind of a background? That's so lovely. I love it.
Ito the Zoom. Kasama sa
What? And me also was asking, may background ba ako dito? Diba? Hi. I guess hi. We're on air already right now. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to Education Radio. And today I have Attorney Trixie Cruz-Angeles. Attorney Trix, welcome to the show. Good morning, my co-advocate for education. Right?
Good morning. I'm not used to being up this early on a weekend, but good morning.
I know. Yeah, you're going to have to start looking into your Saturdays every now and then when you join us for Education Radio. But today, the purpose also of the show, we have to start, since this is about education, we have to start from the very, very beginning. Okay, and since we know that, you and I are both so active on social media, since we know that there's so many questions about how people are going to get back into the groove of education, go back to school. Hi, nako. And so many contradictions without actually looking into the entire plan or the larger scale of things. So maybe since you're also an attorney, we can begin with the whole IATF rules. Since this was in the very beginning already approved.
Well, the IATF basically approved the recommendation made by the DepEd. So, para dun sa mga nanonood sa atin, ang Department of Education po ang nag-set ng mga rekomendasyon base dun sa mga interview at surveys na ginawa nila with the parents at saka mga teachers. So, dun sa mga, kasi naunahan tayo ng mga reklamo, di ba?
Oo nga.
Nagreklamo agad over the tech, over the lack of equipment, over the concerns about social distancing. Wait lang, stop.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Diba? I mean, if we can do all these things on TikTok and everything, that means we have some kind of capability, don't you think so?
Hindi lang kasi siguro nakita dahil yung mga marami dun sa mga nagkokomento ay kadalasan either walang anak dun sa public school at nakikita komento na lang dun sa policies. So first, umpisa pa lang nung nagka-COVID, di ba nagkaroon ng they had to suspend classes and then they had to figure out how to finish off the school year. So dun pa lang, nag-umpisa na yung tatanong, pag-i-interview, kasi hindi lang pagtatapos ng school year, how to open the new school year had to already be taken into consideration as far back as January and February. Di ba nag-suspend na ng classes and then ito na nga, graduation is virtual.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
hindi ba?
While all this was going on, hindi naman po natutulog sa pagitan ng DepEd. Tuloy-tuloy silang nagtatanong at saka ano nila gagawin ng klase next year. O ito na nga, papasok na ang school year, lumabas yung rekomendasyon ng DepEd with the IATF. At basically, ang sinasabi ng DepEd, we will open the school year kasi kailangan tuloy-tuloy ang edukasyon, but it will not be or not necessarily be a face-to-face kind of classes or set.
Right. So, we know na that class opening will start at August 4. August 24, pala 24.
August 24.
Yes.
August 24 kasi meron din tayong mga batas tungkol sa number of school days and generally when school has to open.
Yes.
So, pwedeng bastang wala ng pasok for the next school year. Kaya kailangan magkaroon ng klase.
And we're looking into a whole school year of August 24 to April 30 of 2021.
Yes, because we have to have something like 205 school days.
That's right.
School year. So, that's by law. So, kung hindi na kumpleto yung number of days, then kailangan mag-extend. So, that's why we had to open ng April. Para merong may pagkakataon na mag-extend din at saka the DepEd can take into consideration things like itong mga K-12, of course, at yung mga graduating. So, you're going to need special equipment, special lessons, then makaka-adjust.
Yeah.
April 24 it is. And then, not necessarily face-to-face. So, nagbigay sila ng mga options. The first option, of course, is online. Pero, sorry, they did that, no, is they had to take into consideration iba-ibang conditions of COVID in different places. Halimbawa, hotspot ang Metro Manila, definitely no face-to-face.
No face-to-face in Metro Manila. That's right, yeah.
Magulang. Okay,
but you have places like Batanes, right?
Yes.
Batanes that does not have any reported cases of COVID, right? So in the case of Batanes, for example,
ang recommendation in places na no reported cases, not necessarily then full face-to-face. So if available, it will still be online, pero integration classes every so often, like once a week, and then it will still be social distancing. It will still be by batches, so the students don't all come to school at the same time.
Yes.
So yun yung doon. So even in places where no reported cases, mag-iingat pa rin because you never know when to come in. So
yeah, actually, DepEd calls it cohorts nga. Sabi nga nila, parang since there's no reported cases, let's say in Batanes, you can continue traditional setup, but subject to minimum standards. So let's say one cohort would be, a section going into class MWF, and another cohort would be TTH.
They can alternate, and then part of the classes can be still online, depending on the conditions also, like ilan ba ang may laptops or tablets or desktops who can do online schooling, and then how many teachers have laptops or desktops so that they can do the online teaching. Also, the certainty of the internet connection. Hello, the ICT, for di ba? Consistency. Mag-online.
Yeah, we totally need this now.
Di ba? Dami nga nag-reclaim doon. And correct naman. Siyempre, it's of their concern na, paano kung walang internet? But, Secretary Briones is talking to Secretary Honasan to ensure na at least din sa certain identified areas na makasiguro lang that the internet connection will be reliable. And then, of course, their plans, what are we going to do in case the connection isn't reliable? Would you mark, for instance, diba? So may mga policies in place depending on the school. So it might be case to case kasi depende rin sa area. Let's say Metro Manila might have a lesser concern about connectivity, but a higher concern about face-to-face and integration classes. So definitely no face-to-face, no integration. It will be either all online, or the other option is yung parang homeschooling, their provided materials, yung mga modules. So you submit that, excuse me, every so often, you'll be required to read, the reading list is given, the question for the integration.
And you can also coordinate that with the DepEd, diba?
Yes. Some of the homeschooling has to be assisted by a parent or or home tutor or an online tutor. So, ganon pa rin. But these are individuals kasi homeschooling nga. Hindi mo kailangan humabol with classmates and you proceed at your own pace provided matapos mo within the term, which might be a quarter, what needs to be done. And of course, there are always exams at the end of it.
Right.
So,
what's nice also, because, as a teacher myself, I really believe that everything, I don't know, you've taught, I think you have, right? So,
university and preschool.
Yeah. So you know this. I think you and I will both agree when we say we really think teachers should be managers of their own classrooms. When it's so top-heavy kasi and the decisions always come from the principal, that you cannot move if the principal, doesn't give you the go signal, it becomes very hard to manage a classroom setting. Diba? But what's nice about DepEd right now is that this is not central office driven. Kasi nanggaling rin naman ako sa central office ng DepEd. Diba? Okay. So, maganda na sinabi nila sa akin na hindi ito central office driven. So that means there's going to be a lot of accountability for the regional directors, the superintendents, because they're playing a very big part.
Correct. So, ang ano ko is, remember before, I don't know if you study the trends in education, dati individualized instruction, di ba?
Oo. Pabeda ako, so individual work ako.
Oo, culinary knowledge.
Ganun
that was
din.
post.
Yeah.
I also shall, it's not true. Anyway.
It is.
Diba? So dati, the proposal was individualized instruction, so you could proceed at your own pace and the teacher would take individual needs of the students into consideration. Now, years later, eto na tayo, we come into the late 90s and there's no child left behind policy na. So malayo yung dalawang ideas na yun, di ba? Yung isa is, you can't, diba, the others are able to catch up, they're able to comply with all the requirements, all the needs that have to be done within the year. Yung no child left behind, tututukan dapat yon so that kahit paano makahabol and you will graduate all together. Hindi siya, there's no such thing as iiwan yan sa grade school, no repeaters, so medyo problematic yon because some of the parents felt that the ones who were ahead are forced to slow down to accommodate the slower ones. So parang in the end, parents still want individualized instructions. But at the same time, putting their children in situations where they learn to be social, di ba? Kasi
correct.
Problem with homeschooling is wala kang kasama. You don't know how to, you don't learn.
So the social aspect is something you also look for. You have to, in addition, you have to include it.
So now, that social aspect has to be held in abeyance kasi may COVID nga.
Exactly. So, and for everyone, diba? It's for everyone. It's not just our students.
So even us, even if we have to go to work, social distancing pa rin. Uso na ang snabera ngayon. Di ba?
Tama.
Yes. So, yun nga, kailangan lahat, we all have to adapt. So, the parents are also told na, alam nyo, kung natatakot kayo kahit sa online learning, although hindi ko alam paano kayo mahahawa sa online or sa hindi ko alam pwede nyo namang hindi enroll. Diba? That's always the option of the parent. So may mga parents talaga na nagsasabi na, hindi muna sila mag-enroll kasi walang kasiguruhan. Sige, para sa akin, I think that if your kids have to take a gap year, just make sure that they're not left behind.
Idle. Diba? Yeah.
Yung kumbaga, they'll still be learning somehow. Marami rin namang alternative educational opportunities online ngayon. And daming YouTube videos, and daming libreng instructional, and a lot of universities are offering certificate courses for various things, including Egyptian hieroglyphics. Ako doon.
Well, maganda yan actually. Diba? Interesting. Yeah, it's so available for everyone. That's true. And it's good that you mentioned DepEd because DepEd themselves keep reiterating that at the end of the day, it's the parents' decision if you want your children to go back to school or not. They will take all of these things into consideration when they get into, that part where they have to make surveys. And that happens during the enrollment validation. At this point, we want people to know that that's ongoing, right? It started June 1. Enrollment validation is ongoing right now, and there are certain survey forms that you must fill up. And these survey forms include devices, if you have TV,
connectivity, if there's a parent at home to assist, in case there needs to be discussion with the parent or integration with the parent, like what they do with the modular scheme. So all of that has to, including is even internet available? How is the connectivity there? Is it by data? Is there fiber optics? Is there a barangay hall? Or some barangays have free Wi-Fi. So is that also possible? So they could, the forms are still online, ha. So yung mga parents na hindi pa po sumasagot dun sa mga ganon, at saka yung mga may nag-iisip na magta-transfer ng kanilang mga anak to public schools from private school, by this time dapat meron na kayo yung mga transfer documents nila, transcripts and all of that, kasi the transfer period, the enrollment period is the entire month of June.
Right.
So alam nyo na rin kung kunwari wala kayong wifi, may free wifi ba yung barangay?
Yeah.
Because some municipalities, diba, they have their own free wifi programs.
And that's good that you say that, because the LGU also plays a big part here.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Diba?
So, besides, under the local government code, they have to be partners in education. So,
correct.
They collect, diba, from the teachers a certain amount that are supposed to be for teachers' funds, for teachers' needs, etc. So it's the local government that really takes care of this. So hopefully, the LGUs will also take cognizance of the need for equipment ng ating mga school teachers, public school teachers. If not, we're going to have to rile up also the private sector na kung gusto ninyong mag-donate, after donating to our frontliners, baka you might want to consider donating to our public school teachers.
Yes,
so I understand. Some celebrities might be considering this, so you might want to give your public school teachers and probably
even from where you're from, diba? If you're from Makati, do it there. If you're from San Juan, do it there. If you're from Quezon City, do it there.
You have one teacher, malaking bagay na yun.
Oh. Because teachers also in this month are also upgrading themselves, diba? Considering COVID is also new for them, right? So they're going through whatever, all the trainings that they need to undergo to help our learners.
Yeah.
Pareho lang. Whatever we're preparing our learners for, we're also preparing our teachers for.
Correct. Kaya nga, I hope that to spare the DepEd from harsh criticism that's born out of ignorance or a lack of information. The DepEd, and to be fair, our public school teachers have been preparing for this since COVID began. So since January, February, they're already taking into consideration what to do for this school year. So even the preparation of materials, some of my friends are public school teachers, have already telling us na wala silang bakasyon kasi dire-diretso they have to prepare materials. Materials are different for online and modular learning. And
that's right.
Most of them will be written. So on top of having their lesson plans, which is required, now they have to make materials that are more conducive to individualized work. It will not be supervised teacher. Or, the kids are lucky if you have a parent at home to supervise. Pero the presumption is that not all of them will have that.
Yes.
So the instruction materials will have to be taking into consideration the lack of supervision of some of the students. So na-consider naman yun. Huwag kayong mag-alala. Hindi naman sila papatay-patay.
And teachers are really like that. They're always forever preparing. We know this. We can't enter a classroom without a lesson plan. Diba? For the day, for the week, for the month, for the quarter. It's so tedious to do it.
My last teaching stint was at university. So you make your reading list for the entire SEM na. So by the time you come into class on the first day, the whole SEM is already prepared for the whole quarter. So you've already submitted all of that. And then you already have a calendar. So wala talaga silang sila talaga.
Walang pahinga yan. Correct. So again, mga bayani talaga ang mga teachers din natin. We have to really say this. Okay, again, I have to bring up there's this thing that people keep asking about, which is ano ba? Ano bang meaning? Kasi I know you're gonna find this funny, but ano bang meaning ng local risk severity grading? Diba? Parang hindi nila ma-comprehend. Okay, kung ano ba ang meaning nito?
Ito talaga, this is my complaint with our government officials. Ang hilig ninyo sa highfalutin words.
Where we have to break it down for you.
Interagency Task Force on Emerging Charvacals. After that, wala na. My brain has gone numb kasi ang dami-dami, ang haba-haba ng title. Ay, ATF lang kayo para sa akin. Okay na yon. I don't have room in my brain to want to have to consider the rest of your name. So, isa pa yon yung mga Chuba assessment. Basically, what it means is they'll assess the health situation dun sa lugar. Kasi iba-iba yan, di ba? Every city, you have the infection rate, which is your R0 factor, the doubling rate, then you have the number of deaths, the number of active cases, the number of recoveries, etc. per locality.
Right.
Their barangay, very high incidences na talagang everything is shut down, then we don't know, they might have to consider na yun nga, that will all be purely online kasi hindi nga baka hindi ma-deliver yung mga materials. But by the way, it's the barangay that will be distributing the materials, not the teachers themselves. So, coordinate with your barangay to ensure na alam nila na enrolled yung mga anak niyo. The school will also take care of that. They'll also be coordinating with the barangay. Pero, yun nga, the approaches will be based on the health situation. That's basically what it means.
That's what it
They'll
means,
just take
people.
into how bad it is in your barangay. Pag hindi naman masama, then yun nga, like in Batanes, it could be weekly integrations, it could be generally face-to-face, partly online, things like that. Pero in those cases, like Metro Manila, the whole of Metro Manila, it's most likely the modular form or online, purely online. So parents who are concerned na, yun na nga, walang social aspect and all of that, remember that this is an emergency situation. We're still under a state of public health emergency.
Yes.
Pero kahit na emergency tayo, kailangan tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang aral because by law, required a certain number of school days.
Yes. So, that's what people have to understand. By law, we are required. Diba?
Oh, pati opening of classes because the president doesn't really have that much discretion to move it.
Yes.
So he even asked Congress to consider giving him powers to move the opening of the school year so that diba, the teachers don't get too harassed.
Right. And on the larger scale of things, there's no face-to-face until there is a vaccine. Basically. Yeah. So you don't have to worry.
Walang vaccine, walang face-to-face.
Diba?
The president also laid down the law on that one. So
relax lang kayo. Relax lang kayo, diba? Let's just pause for a break. Let's just pause for a break, Attorney Trixie. We'll be right back here on Education Radio. Stay tuned.
I am Johnny Gomez of Johnny Gomez Live, aired daily from Monday to Friday at 9 to 10 a.m. on Radyo Bandido TV, simulcast on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. on Sky Cable Channel 224, digital boxes and on free-to-air TV, facebook.com/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. and our official YouTube channel.
Attorney Trix. I think it's also time that we explain the conduct of curricular and co-curricular activities. Kasi kasama na dito yung mga mass gatherings para maintindihan din ng tao kung ano yung kasali at hindi kasali. Diba? So let's say school fairs.
Bawal.
Don't look for those school fairs anymore. Diba?
Asa pa. Even graduations, diba? Hindi pa pwede. Like here, I had a high school. My youngest graduated high school. Didn't graduate high school.
Congrats.
Wala silang graduation ceremony. So, walang mga ganon. Even parent-teacher conferences now are conducted online. So, wala ganon.
Even court cases are conducted online, I think, if I'm... diba?
No, even things like preliminary investigations, some of the court cases, the trial courts in Quezon City was one of the pilot cases. So, doon, appearances are all online.
Online.
It started in the US. You know, alam mo ba yun? They started in the US. They would have court cases online, and then one judge actually had to tell the lawyers, "Could you please put some pants on?" So,
Oh, wow.
nakikita po
Okay. Nakikita pala. Oh my goodness, kakahiya. So teachers, so you think our students should still be in uniform? Our teachers should be in uniform?
No. I think that's too much to ask.
Wag na,
Pero
diba?
at least,
Just have your pants on.
wag naman sando. At least a t-shirt on. I mean, really, why would we expect them to? It's hard enough to ask them to do things. Diba, this time around, they'll be doing things pretty much on their own for most of them. Lalo na if they have parents working, walang supervision. They'll be on their own. Even the learning is on their own. So this is going to be the new normal, for a while. I think even
yes,
this is not just in high school. Even college students, it's going to get harder. For graduate students, it's pretty easy. They can just give you the reading list. And then you read everything there, and then they'll ask you to submit papers every so often. So, integrate the ideas in 2 or 3 papers that they give you, and it's 100 pages already of reading. So, for graduate students, walang problema. Some of them just barely come in, talk to the teacher, make submissions, again, get the reading list. So, no problem. Most of graduate work is research work. So, my guess is that mas magiging parang European style ang students natin now. Since, what I want to see sana being made available are yung things like JSTOR, yung mga academic sites for the college students.
Right.
It's not just high school students go back to school. So, sana, kasi in the absence of libraries, we're going to need sources of information. We're going to need Elsevier, mga ganyan. Even the universities, some universities have made all of their papers available for public viewing. Congratulations, thank you very much. But the others, kasi it's so expensive. You know how much JSTOR costs a year? It's over 8,000. I know because I have to pay for it. But universities, kasi you can use them. Through the universities. If you're an enrolled student, they'll give you a code, you can use the university's account, and that's allowed also. Pero yung iba who don't have, who will be doing a lot of reading on their own, baka hindi nila ma-access yung sa universities nila. I wish that the governments will make these available, di ba? Baka CHED might want to consider na making available yung mga ganitong academic journals so that we can do research on our own.
That's right.
Divide it.
Yeah, totally.
Well, the students kasi might have to. Ako, when I was teaching in university, I had to make all the materials already available kasi I was teaching a subject to kind of a law subject to fine art students. So. They would not know where to find the materials. So I reproduced the materials, left them with the Xerox people so that they could just come and get. Pero the research-based studies where the professor will say, okay, research on this one. Good luck, walang libraries.
Yeah.
Diba? So
how will you do it?
That is patay tayo niyan. It can't be in spoon feeding because the best universities, they pretty much leave the students to study on their own. Yung Europeans, diba? You get a reading list and
I love it. Don't you love it? If it's available, of course, you'll love it. Diba? And I know that in the month of August also, they're going. I know also in the month of August that they're going to use them that time to see how capable you are, diba?
Yeah.
In gathering all this information that you will be able to use for the school year.
Totoo yan. Yung meron pa, it will also teach the students a little more independence. Kasi we have K-12, diba? In theory, after K-12, many of the students will be able to strike out on their own. They can either go to business schools, vocational schools, whatever, or even stop and start working. Dapat
That's
equipped na sila by the time they graduate K to 12. So this might be an opportunity to teach them how to teach themselves.
That's right.
The one thing I remember that my kids learned in the Ateneo. Some of the
In
boys
the
learned in that.
Ateneo. Okay.
Yeah, kasi this is I have to give this credit. I have to give credit to Ateneo. What they taught my boys were how to look for information. So, kunwari you want to find out something, and this was pre-internet. It was pre-Google. So when they knew how to go to the library and search for what they needed. So that was ingrained in them as early as the fourth grade. Diba? Grade 4 na Ateneo, yun na tinuturo na sa kanila yung
That's good. Oo.
In UP, you're taught that in college. When you get to college, you're taught na, sige, how to do this. And this was pre-Google, pre-internet. Now, with the internet, it's easier to learn and to look for information. Pero the practice of that, and yung mindset na pag hindi mo alam, i-Google mo or something like that. At the very least, mo. And then to teach how to do internet research. Not everything kasi you read, di ba, on the internet is going to be real or true. There's a lot of false information out there. So siguro, that's one of the skills that our teachers should be teaching for the entire of the COVID season.
Yeah. Like how to detect fake news. Correct.
Yeah.
It's part of it. It's part of it.
Ano na nangyayari sa fake news campaign ng ahensya niya? Loko lang.
Ano ba? Oy, nandiyan pa nga. It's good God that you bring that up. Because now when you talk about fake news, you're talking about content, di ba? Talaga, these are the things that Go ahead.
Di ba tanungin natin, kamusta na ang fake news campaign? Kasi nalululong sila dun sa ibang mga activities. Naintindihan naman natin that they have to deal with information about COVID and hopefully about anti-terrorism bill. Pero kahit man lang dun sa mga, that's a lot of work. Pero the fake news problem is prevalent, ongoing, especially now with the anti-terrorism bill. There's a lot out there. So, dapat yung ahensya balik tutok. Okay?
Yeah.
And
nice. It's actually just 5 steps, right?
Oh, diba? May ganun eh. Kaya I miss the memes. Did they put out, maybe it's time for us to bring that up again, diba? Yung mga, how to tell if it's fake news.
Labas mo yung meme ko. It's available. It's available in the Dismiss Disinformation page of the Presidential Communications Operations Office. Oh. Hey! meme lang naman ako. Cartoon character pa nga ako doon. No, but then again, it's 5 steps.
Ano natin ginawa ka?
Diba, ako pa nag-explain. Ako pa nag-explain, di ba?
Hindi na naman.
Diba? Pero nice yan. I like that idea. And it should really be incorporated in the whole educational system. Because we're also going to be fighting deep fakes. Diba? Meron na tayong, I discussed this once in one of my rounds for Dismiss Disinformation, where you have artificial intelligence. And come on, that's scary, right?
Yeah.
So,
it's also going to be a fact of life later on. The earlier we learn how to live with it, then the better. It's you who controlling the situation rather than you being controlled later on. So, the fear of technology and the fear of change is what keeps us from learning.
Yeah.
So dapat talaga
I know. I can't help it. I have a bit of that fear. Yeah, that's true. You have to overcome it because it's needed. I wrote that in my Philippine Star article that I'm really kind of scared a bit. You know, it scares me. Technology scares me. But because I'm still I'm still very traditional. I still love books. You love books, you know. I still love books. I still handwrite. I still have notebooks.
Not flip over in the houses. So,
Yeah. I'm still Carrie
Kasi
Bradshaw in you know that show where you know my phone is still this way and stuff, diba? Because it's so traditional. But then
but you still have to, you need one foot in both worlds. Who
That's
says
true.
naman that if you like the material, you're stupid in technology? You still have to, you still
That's
have
true.
to have that has to be updated. Ako nga, there was a time when computers actually scared me. I didn't have a laptop, a desktop, anything. I was doing everything mano-mano. Even my research was,
Yeah.
I was doing it in the College of Law until finally somebody said, "This is ridiculous." Got me a computer, got me connected, and then taught me all about the internet. And then after that, wala, no turning back na. And then there was a time I was afraid of a particular brand. Oh, yeah, I didn't like Apple anything until,
Yeah.
somebody gave me an iPhone and then a MacBook Pro. And so now I can do both. I can do the compatibles. I can do the Android phones. I can do the other.
Yeah.
Kasi
You have to adapt. You have to adapt. Yeah.
They're suspicious. So mahirap yan, di ba? If you're the parent, you're suspicious of technology, and then you have a tech-savvy kid, and then, never the twain shall meet. Patay talaga. You're going to have trouble when it comes to education.
Oh yes,
Good luck.
definitely.
Huwag na kayo mag-away.
Yeah, and I have to also cite Attorney Trixie. I mean, even in the public school system, public school teachers often approach me and say, "What do I do when my student knows more than me?" Because he's so techy, diba? And I don't even have the device, right? So you have the whole teacher process and the learner process that really just have to jive. It comes hand in hand. And as much as we're training our learners, we're also training our teachers. Diba? Pareho lang.
That's one thing na I understand that it took some time for the DepEd to upgrade the teacher competency on technology, on IT. Tapos siguro this is one thing we can be thankful for. Nagka-COVID, so now we have to deal with this.
Yeah, we're forced.
Have to be savvier.
The time has come.
At least yeah. But this is a problem worldwide, hindi lang dito.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of teachers, even in the US, they have basic competencies, but their kids, the kids they're teaching can run circles around them. It will always be the next generation that speaks the language of the new technology. So
that's right.
You also have to be able to adapt that.
Yeah. Hindi tayo magpapatalo. You can't get left behind.
Hindi talaga, kawawa rin tayo if that happens. And you know what they say, diba? The older you get, if you continuously learn, you create more neural pathways in the brain, and that keeps the brain from aging. So for those of us who have family members who are seniors, teach them online gaming.
Yeah. Mom and dad are listening.
They really should learn.
Yeah.
My son has gone out to teach his lola how to do online gaming. Hindi pa naman siya nananalo. Pero,
yeah, why not? But, we're talking about technology. And the thing is, we have, a lot of participation or partnerships, that will now be included in education. We know that the PCOO, where I'm from, diba? Offer the use of government's television, radio stations for implementation of the...
Yes, that's the other aspect that DepEd is going to use. So they'll be using local TV and radio stations for those areas without or very, spotty internet coverage. So they'll be using other forms of, as Sec Briones said, diba? Older technology, because radio was around, at least a century before television, or more or less, something like that.
Yeah.
Diba? So they'll be videos. Oh my gosh, you have to get a transistor again.
Yeah, okay, we're talking about radio, and I have to say this. I started in DZRJ, and I'm so glad to be home. Something that Chairman Jacinto and I used to talk about always with my father. It's like radio will never go away. One day you're gonna go back and rely on it, and today's day we're here, di ba? Yeah, all you need is a wet ground for radio. AM,
AM radio, di ba? The AM radio we're heard in the fields of the fields and mountains yan. So where sadly I wish the internet could cover that much also, but
that's going to be hard. Yeah, maybe the third telco. Let's hope for that, because we need to do this now. I think COVID-19 is really not pressuring us, but challenging us to start, putting our game on already when it comes to telcos.
Pagdating na sa telcos, totoo yan. No more duopolies. Or at
No
least,
more.
You have to shape up. You have to shape up. Walang choice. And they're in the spotlight. If things go wrong especially here when it comes to education, because so much will be relying on the internet.
Yes.
Good luck.
I hope good luck talaga.
Kanasan is up to it.
Yeah, let's pray
Especially
for him.
since Sec Leading can be very, very persuasive. My bet is on Sec Leading winning this round.
Oh yeah.
Against,
of course, depends on the love of our life.
I'm sure ang bibigay dyan si Sec Honasan. He will not be able to resist. I swear. Totoo yan.
Yay! Go for it, Sec.
The thing is that Sec Briones is ahead of her game. So maaga pa lang she was already talking to the DICT.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she's also talking to PCOO to make sure that there are radio stations and television stations that are on board.
Yeah. But just for the information of everyone, okay, because I have to bring this up before people start to panic. We've already battled with K-12. And here on DZRJ, we took all these issues on K-12 for one whole year with the DepEd. Okay, one whole year, Attorney Trixie, just literally making himay everything when it comes from K all the way to 12. Okay, so that includes early childhood education, which is why we really want to stress how important it is that parents play a part, or the guardians, or whoever's responsible in your home, for the education of the children in your home, right? But then now, even K-12 itself will have its own clientele. So there's like this clientele difference, okay? Let's say ALs and K-12.
Yes. Yeah.
It's still there, right? It's still part of the learning continuity plan, but it will be a difference in clientele.
Okay. What's going on with that? There are a lot of people asking, what's with K-12 now, considering COVID conditions? What's going on? What are we going to do? What are the parents of the kids who are going into the K-12 program? What are they going to do? I think paano yung vocational track?
Yes.
The others, the ones that are university bound, okay lang.
Kasi two track. Correct.
So paano yung the ones that need hands-on training, what are we going to do? We're providing them materials individually so they can practice. How about also the courses, diba? They'll have to be limited to the ones that can be taught online.
Mm-hmm. Well, I understand the modalities will be the same, but I'm sure that it will also be a challenge, right? There's no face-to-face still. There's interaction is wala, diba?
Mm-hmm.
ALS is what's nice about ALS, and I believe it's going to be playing a really huge role right now with COVID, is because it's life skills based. And we all know that, oh well, at that time in DepEd kasi yung aming poster boy dyan, si Manny Pacquiao, si Senator Manny Pacquiao, because he did go through the ALS system.
Oo. And then he went to late education, di ba? Yung tertiary niya, he completed it as an adult. Di ba ko? I still love the idea of adults, middle-aged people going back to university. I love it.
And that's the beauty of something that's life skills based. Because it's not depending on, or what did you attain? Oh, 3rd grade lang or 4th grade lang. And you're 20 years old. Diba? Syempre, you've acquired certain life skills na. And I do believe that life skills are gonna play a big part now with COVID-19. Diba? While we're in survival mode, right?
Emergency mode pa nga eh. So it's still, but life goes on, diba? That's why I like the idea. Kids are still going to be go back to school, pero online. Oh my God. I can't imagine. My college bunk kid's going to be doing his freshman year. Right?
Oh, well, my eldest son in LaSalle, wala. Yun ang wala. Socialization. What can you do? Diba? But that was always an issue for the homeschoolers, right? Where you have to find different ways of to socialize. But then you can't do that anyway right now. Right? So let's not complain. But I have to go back then, Attorney Trixie, to the regional and division offices of the DepEd, because they're the ones kasi who are going to be deciding on the specific delivery of the modalities. Right? Like whether it's blended learning, online delivery modes. So what can we expect from this? Kasi syempre, it's new for them also. You're talking regional division. I mean, di ba?
The one thing that they assured us is that they will be adjusting constantly, which is actually a policy laid down by the IATF. Remember the IATF? They assess every day. Lalo na when we were on lockdown, they had to assess every day what the situation was so that they can make immediate policy changes. So the same policy is adopted now and implemented by district. So they have to see by district how each school and each barangay, because yun yung smallest unit how they're doing. Kasi barangay ang levels ng differences in health situations. So we classify, especially after during GCQ, or GCQ, whatever form Q comes in now, it's still barangays. It's barangays now, no longer large areas like the whole of Metro Manila. So now they make assessments by barangay. So it will be the schools making assessments by area of jurisdiction. In the cities, it's easy because the schools, many schools operate on either 1 or 2 barangays per ang district ng school nila. So it's very, very easy to implement. My concern is the other areas that
like hot area
will have diba? What if it's more varied? Like you have extremes, one that's in hard lockdown, one barangay in hard lockdown, and then another that isn't. So are you going policy based on the worst case scenario or the best case, or are you going to make policies for each of them differently, even if it's just one school? So I do not envy the job, but that is the ongoing policies to adjust constantly, depending on the health situation and the needs.
Yeah.
It's freaking me out. So how much work they have to,
Yes. And we're talking public school right now, but there's a bit of a difference for the private. Right? We know this, like when classes will start.
Yeah. It's easier kasi outside of Metro Manila, which is the good part. Most of the country, except for the areas that have hotspots, Cebu, I think Davao has some areas that are on hard lockdown or still on hard lockdown. So in areas na highly urbanized, might be difficult considering the population. And it's not easy because they have also higher populations in their schools. So for about 80% of the country, it will still be, as usual, not face-to-face, most likely blended. The more remote areas, it will be, they'll include radio and TV as supplemental teaching opportunities. So, but yung details of how each district is going to cope depends on the variety of health needs within their districts. Hindi pa, we don't see it yet. I think there's still talk up to now. Although what they've done is prepared for worst case.
Yan na nga eh. I'm also curious on how we're going to be preparing curriculums that will be digestible on TV, digestible on radio. You guys are gonna be super out of the box dapat crazy. Like Attorney Trixie. Like attorney me. Like me. Diba? Kasi dapat talaga out of the box pag ganyan eh. Kasi alam mo naman ang learners natin, their attention span also we have to consider.
So we have to consider yung mga ganun.
Yeah.
I have a suggestion for, but I have to talk to Sec Liling about this. The National Commission for Culture and the Arts and the National Museum, they have a lot of material, at least on Philippine history, Philippine culture. So they can look to that. Also, the National Historical Commission, I think they still have their library, but I don't know about their materials. I think they do still have their materials. A lot of them are online. So we
can format it to
already online. Yeah. The National Museum and some of the private museums, like Ayala Museum, has a regular feature, something like a YouTube thing for specific portions of their exhibits. So there's a good one also. The National Museum had one before, I think, on the Manunggo jar, but I'm not sure because they have a book. The CCP also has materials for culture and arts. There's no lack of it. We might need updating, pero there's a whole lot of materials out there that they might want to consider, and these are available in multi formats. They should consider these. Sayang because I made a lot of them myself. So
I feel ya. I feel ya. I feel you there. Okay, maybe this time around it's all gonna be used for tricks. Diba? You never know.
Chance na, diba? Chance of a lifetime. I was waiting kasi for the for PTV to start their culture program, to start moving towards a more BBC format. And since that has been delayed, this is the opportunity now to use it, even for the local stations, diba, and the local radio stations. Some of them can be adjusted. Some of the materials can be adjusted for purely audio presentation. Pero naman, when it comes to culture, or at least to heritage, a lot of the heritage is material heritage, so it has to be seen. At least
that's right.
But there's also the audio heritage, which means chants, dances, knowledge systems that can be available on a purely audio format. So maybe they could consider that also.
Music, language.
Those are what we call intangible cultural heritage. So pwede language. Purely audio rin pwede. Of course, the written language.
Hello! Yeah, totally. I can see that that's going to happen now. So just giving like a timeline before we end our show. Enrollment is ongoing for DepEd, June 1 to June 30.
Yes.
Right? And that is including, that includes all collection of applicable data, which we said na kanina, yung survey, di ba? Kailangan yan. Of what you have, what you don't have, and it depends on the parents kung pagpapatuloy pa nila yung education ng kanilang mga anak. Then we also have the offline balik eskwela.
Yeah, and transfer students, don't forget, you should by this time have all your materials necessary for transfer. But some areas I understand are willing to wait for your transcripts. You can enroll subject to or pending the transcripts, because some of the private schools, they either don't have the personnel yet coming in to be able to process your transfer documents. So some of the, just make arrangements with the school, the public school that you're going to transfer to, kung pwedeng to follow yung transcript ninyo. Some schools are willing to make that adjustment.
Yeah,
Till
they
any
usually
na.
do. Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
Then so,
public,
sorry again, what?
so yeah, because it's a public health emergency, you can make some exceptions. The school can make some exceptions, basta to follow yung transcript.
Okay.
I think you just need to show report cards or something like that. Yeah, I report cards for the last term that you attended school, and then to follow yung transcript.
Right. So just like the K to 12, and this is what I love about DepEd also is, of course, they are really looking into everyone's apprehensions and fears. Diba? They're taking all of that into consideration. And nothing comes without the glitches that you and I are expecting to happen. DepEd is expecting all of this to happen.
So don't expect everything then to be perfect. Konting reality check, no? Not everything is going to start off smoothly. If it does, thank you. But if it's not expected then, kasi this is the first time we're doing this. So
Yes.
ako, I'm rooting for the teachers. Yay!
Yay! Yes, me too. Mabuhay kayo. You're going to be our heroes also. You are frontliners, right? I mean, it's going to be a real challenge for our learners, but it's also a real challenge for our teachers. Thank you so much, Attorney Trixie, my co-educator. It's nice to have you here on Education Radio.
Until next
See you soon. Until next time. Okay, see you soon. This has been Pia Morato. I'm back on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Hasta luego, everyone.